There we go. I haven't figured out how to zoom in or anything on this. Oh, hang on a minute, video settings. Maybe that's how you do it. Nope. Apparently I can't change it on this particular one. Anyway. So let me see if I can do this. I've literally moved everything. No, that's the... Oh, that's that one. Okay. Alrighty. Let me see if I can show you this. So, excuse the dizzy making. There's the window over there, which is where I used to sit next to. And my desk was there. My big desk was here, and that chest of drawers was there. And my big light was up there, and everything was very dark, as you can see. Ignore that big mess. That's what's left that I need to sort out. But most of it is empty boxes. In fact, the whole of that bottom section there is actually rubbish and recycling, and the rest of it is mostly empty boxes. So yeah, that's all I've got left to sort out. So I've done pretty well. I now have that chair over there. I'm not sure what I'm doing with that chest of drawers until I figure out what I'm doing with my blanket chest, which is over here behind me. Again, you've got some bits and pieces. Ignore the state of the floor. What I found is that no matter how clean your floor is when it starts, or how well you've hoovered before you started, as soon as you start moving furniture, you find embedded dog hair everywhere. So now that the whole floor needs redoing again. Until I figure out what I'm doing with this chest, I haven't figured out what I'm doing with that drawer unit, but I think I'll put the drawer unit here because that is going in my bedroom. That chair will go over there then with that chair and the little blanket chest. Sorry if I'm making you dizzy. To essentially make a little seating area. I've got my trolley here out of the kitchen, so this can move. So there's plenty of room over that. Sorry, you're upside down. There's plenty of room. I can move this anywhere I want. So there's plenty of room to have 2 chairs and a table over there. Yeah, you find dog fur, cat toys, all sorts of stuff. And it gets like, you think you've hoovered right up to the edge of the furniture, and what you actually find is that when you move the furniture, this happens and it rolls out with the furniture. So you get all this like fur stuff happening everywhere like that. You get rolls of fur like that come out from the edge of tables and stuff, and you're like, where did that come from? It wasn't there just now. Anyway, so the desk, okay, let me try and show you this as best I can. Oh, what's beeping at me? Oh, that's my phone. It's okay. That's my vintage desk over there with my chair. That chair's going to come out. I've got my wheelie chair here. So I've literally got that desk and my 2 long desks here and my computer. So at the moment, I've only got this area to work in, but that's because I need to put a shelf there. I want to put like a small floating shelf so that I can put this, my very ghetto, look at my very ghetto setup with my other camera, literally just hung over the top of the monitor right now, because really it needs pinning to the wall, but I haven't got anything to pin it to the wall to yet. So once I've got something up there to put everything on, I'll have more desk space. And of course my monitor can move right back. I can take this off and put it on the, whatchamacallit there, the trolley. Anything I don't need on the desk, I can put on the trolley, you see. Because the only thing on the trolley at the moment is these and this. And what I'm thinking I could do is actually use the original thing that I was going to put all my paints up on the wall there. Because all my craft paints are over here between my two desks, so that when I'm just doing my journaling, I can use my paints over there. When I'm doing my own journaling, just, you know, not working. And then this is my work filming desk. It's taken me all week to do that, but I'm quite impressed with myself, if I do say so. It's looking good so far. It desperately needs a clean, but I've got a massive space in the middle of the room. I've got enough room to put my yoga mat out, actually, once I've got that little chest of drawers sorted. I can actually put my yoga mat out and do some yoga, which will be very good for me. Sorry, I've forgotten to swap the cameras back, haven't I? Yeah, it will be very good for me to have some, that's ugly, isn't it? Having that hanging down in the middle of the, okay, we'll put that over there. I can use that one for a top-down view for today. This is more for, I've set this one up more for when I'm using the easel, because obviously when I'm using the easel, I'm usually on YouTube or Twitch, and you've got me, you only see this bit of me. You don't see all of this, but I can't control it on Zoom. So yes, I've got some floor space. But it's not been an easy week. I've had a bit of a week. I don't remember if I told you guys, because I can't remember what I've told you and what I've vlogged, and everything starts to merge into one after a while. But about a month ago, a very charming doctor who I don't normally see managed to persuade me that I needed to drop my anxiety meds down from 2 to 1. Now, my own doctor has never managed to persuade me that that's a good idea. And on the one occasion that I mentioned it to her and said, should I drop these down from 2 to 1? She said to me, are you saying that because you think that's what you need? Or are you saying that because you think that's what I want to hear? And I thought about it and I said, no, I think I'm saying it because I think that's what you want to hear. And she said, look, if it's not broken, don't fix it. If what you're on works for you, don't mess with it. Just go with it until you feel like you want to make a change. When you decide you want to try and come off your meds or drop your meds or whatever, then we'll do it. Until then, if your meds are working, stick with it. And I let him persuade me different. And for the last month and a half, I've only been on 1 instead of 2. The panic has just been incrementally going up and up and up and up and up until I had a full-fledged panic attack at the weekend, which I hadn't had in years. My panic attacks have been fully under control for, I'm gonna say, about 12 years. These days, if I have a panic attack, I pretty much see it coming. I know it's going to happen because I'm going to be in a place where there's a good potential that I'm not going to be able to control it. Like if I'm in a lot of crowds in a place that I don't know on my own, you know, this is why I don't travel unless I'm in the car or I'm with somebody. I don't travel anywhere on my own unless I've been there before and I know exactly what I'm doing. So the whole fight or flight thing has been on high alert, being on high alert all the time. And I finally realized that I wasn't sleeping very well either, because Maddie keeps waking me up during the night, which is That's not her, that's me. She wakes me up when something I'm doing is bothering her. So last week I put my meds back up. I said, oh, I'm not doing this. I emailed my doctor and I told her the situation and I said, I'm not, this is not working. Let's chalk it up to, well, okay, he persuaded me to give it a try. I've given it a try and 6 weeks later, I'm a mess. I don't want this. I don't want to be like this. It's exhausting, exactly. Now, there are people, and I totally give them credit. I know Courtney talks about this a lot. She won't do meds because they put her in a fog. Well, for me, it's the opposite way round. Without the meds, I'm a mess. I can't function. And I was getting to that point, I could literally feel the fog descending to the point where I couldn't function. And it's only now coming back. Last night I slept like a log, and I know I slept like a log because my mum and my dad, my mum and dad, my dog, my mum and dad have gone away. That's the next part of the sentence. See, I can't form my sentences in the right order. I woke up in the same position as I went to bed last night, and Maddie was right next to me in the same position. So neither of us woke up all night. I didn't even hear my dad call. This is where the mum and dad thing came in. I didn't hear my dad call this morning to say that they were on their plane going away because they've gone off on holiday for a month. So she didn't wake me up and I didn't wake up. But it's one of those things that until it really hits me, I don't notice it. Even though I can feel the stress building up, I don't really notice it. Yeah, if the meds work, go for it, exactly. If they don't work for you, then they don't work for you. But my meds work for me, and I know they work for me. And I know it's not in my head because, I followed along with this guy. I let him persuade me that it was okay to try it. And I wasn't thinking, oh, but I'm only doing one and getting myself wound up. I was just like, okay, well, I'll try it. Fair enough. I've been doing great on 2 for a long time. Okay, let's try it on 1. Let's see. And it's only 6 weeks later that I'm suddenly like, no, I can't handle this anymore. I'm in full flight or fight mode all the time and I cannot handle it. So yeah, hopefully in the next week or so, we'll be back to normal. I texted Courtney and I told her what was going on. She's like, no, you can't lose it. You're my rock. You're the stable one. Yeah, because I'm on meds. Anyway, so yeah, I've been a bit here and there all week. So I decided that this was the week to do the studio because doing physical stuff and tiring myself out is the best way to deal with anxiety for me. If I can't do anything else, then, just being so tired that I have to sleep well is the best way to go. Hence the studio move. But it's a lot of work. But I got all the furniture moved. For those of you wondering, I've put the big square table out in the kitchen. So I've now got a kitchen table, which would be interesting because what I'm thinking is I might put my big easel out there so that I can just pick up a few colours of what I want to work on and go and work on Wolfie out there. Or even just eat out there or, have my cup of tea out there. It's nice because at the moment it's right by the back door. So I can sit inside where it's a little bit warmer and out of the wind, but with the door open. So it was a bit chilly to sit outside today. It's only 17 degrees, but it's quite nice to just sit by the door. Does that make sense? It's warmer sitting inside by an open window than it is sitting outside, right? Tell me I'm not the only one. Anyway. So yeah, it's been a rough week, but we're on top of it now. You've got to know what works for you and you've got to be able to tell when it's not working for you. And I could feel it not working for me. All of a sudden it hit me like, oh, this is not good. This is where this has all come from. All my keloids have come up. All this. Yeah, it will be nice in the warm weather to just sit out in there in the morning. I mean, I normally sit out in the garden in the morning, to be honest. But when it's warm, It's warm enough to have all the doors and windows open, but it's not quite warm enough to sit outside. It'd be nice to just sit there and have a coffee. And that's too hot to drink. Anyway, so I've just knocked my ghetto tripod over, so let's fix that. I might have to use this one actually, because I don't think that's going to stay stable for long. I might have to use this one, which means this will be in the way of my face a bit, but I can't really do anything about that until I sort the other one out. That's the whole point of having two cameras, was so that I could quickly switch between two cameras when I needed to. But this one isn't set up properly yet, and nor is the other one, so. Oh, you can see me, that's fine, isn't it? So yeah, that's why you didn't get a PDF yesterday, because I didn't get around to sorting out the second half of it. I'd already written half of it, but I didn't get around to sorting out the rest. Okay, switch camera. There we go. Is that enough light? Because I have a little light here that I can put more light on if I need it. And it's got a dimmer. And it changes. I've got warm, cool, and daylight. Cool, isn't it? I think for the moment we're all right without it, actually. It'll probably be when I can't see. Because the at the moment, all the light's coming from the window, which is lovely. Actually, it's really nice to have full daylight. But of course, with my monitor there, I'm only getting daylight sort of half the desk from sort of here onwards, because the monitor is in the room. I did a little whizzy thing at the beginning, Cody. You'll have to go back and watch that later. I don't want to move the camera again. I'm trying to get my cameras so that they stay put and I don't have to keep moving them around. Okay, so how's that? That's not... God, why is my phone being so noisy? Oh, I didn't have it on. I charged it, but I didn't have it on silent. Anyway, so we're going to do sigils today, but I thought first I'd show you this, which this is the deck that Ashley was talking about the other day that she sent me. It comes with a big ass book. I'm really looking forward to looking through it because it's really unusual. This is all just the, you know, the different symbolism and meanings and stuff, but the actual deck is way out yonder. It's really interesting. Some of the imagery is amazing. This is the Mary L tarot, which some people get on with and some people don't. Ashley said she doesn't get on with it, and that's why she sent it to me. But I absolutely love it. This is the one I drew yesterday, which is pretty much how I felt. Maddie, leave it. Maddie. Sorry, we've got construction going on in the house that way, and the house across the corner there. So there's weird workmen and people wandering in and out all the time. I've got to angle it so that it doesn't catch the light, but yeah, this is the one I pulled yesterday, and that was exactly how I felt. Oof, Maddie just farted at me. Whoa, that was a strong one, Maddie. Flipping heck. This is awesome. Look at this card. It's just such amazing imagery. This is the one that Ashley showed me originally, and she said, oh, you know, you might like this. And I went, oh yeah, it's Death on His Horse. It's one of the 4 horsemen. And she was like, how did you get that? Apparently you either get these cards or you don't, but I saw it was death on his horse. Oh, you got the magical creatures ones. Yeah, she's been clearing out her decks of ones that she doesn't gel with. This is, I absolutely love this. The lovers, that reminds me of Hades and Persephone. Oh, look at that cute little bug. Is that like a bunny? Looks like a bunny rabbit type thing. Ashley's showing us, not Ashley, Risha's showing us some as well. I've spotlighted her so she can show you hers as well. But I absolutely love these. I think they're, look at him. Oh, he's beautiful. But a lot of people can't gel with these at all, but I love them. I think they're awesome. They're just so powerful. Anyway, so I thought I'd show you those. That's the Mary L tarot. So what's let's see the ones Risha's showing us. Ah, he looks like a little moomin. This is the magical creatures, the mythical creatures, magical creatures, something like that.
Magical forest.
Magical forest.
Yeah.
Like the imps and things. Oh, it's a bunny. A crazy bunny.
I'm liking the cats too.
Oh yeah, they're cool. It's very you. It is very you.
And it has Dutch on it too.
Oh, cool. Is it by a Dutch artist?
No clue. It has several different languages on it, so.
Oh, right. Oh, that's nice. Look at the colours in that one. Hi, cat. Oh, it's frogs. I like it. Cool. Yeah, they're nice, those. I like those. Right then. So that's the Magic Forest and Mary L tarots, if you are interested in either of those. What we're doing today is sigils. You didn't get a handout for sigils because I didn't get the second part written. But sigils are not that difficult. Everybody makes a big thing about sigils, and there's a right way and a wrong way to do them, and you do it. The minute anybody starts saying there's a right way and a wrong way to do something in anything to do with witchcraft, I'm like, seriously? Especially something like sigils, because sigils are very ancient magic. They are, well, no. The use of sigils in various different ways is a very ancient type of magic. And it's shown in all sorts of places. In voodoo, the family of Loa, the gods-ish, the preternatural spirits and so on, have vevers. Vever? Yeah, vever. V-E-V-E, which are magical symbols that people who want to invoke that god or invoke the properties of whatever that god does, or whatever benefits that god gives you, they will use those symbols to invoke that. So it's kind of like, think of a symbol. I think of a symbol like a passcode. It's a short, quick way of invoking what is normally quite a complex or deep spell. I'm going to use the word deep. You'll see why in a minute. it's kind of like an unlocking, like a passcode. Another simple version is the sign of the cross that is used in Catholicism. You use the sign of the cross, you either draw it or write it or cross yourself or whatever, invokes the Holy Spirit. Instead of sitting down and doing the 12 prayers of the Holy Spirit in order to invoke the Holy Spirit, you make the sign of the cross, it means the same thing, etc., etc. Another example is the magical staves of the Icelandic regions, where they have all these beautiful symbols that they use for protection or, you know, a good harvest or a good fishing day or whatever. You know, they would carve the symbols on their boats to invoke this particular protection or this particular benefit or whatever, you know. So it's that's what sigils are, basically. But as far as the whole, there are certain ways that you should do things. Sigils come from, or modern sigils, not the old sigils, the modern sigils actually come from chaos magic. And if you know anything about chaos magic, or rather you will know about chaos magic if you follow Kellyanne Maddox. In fact, I'm something of a chaos magic kind of person myself, given that my spiritual guru is Granny Weatherwax. Her spiritual book is Alice in Wonderland. Mine's the Discworld. Chaos magic is a relatively new concept, but it basically, it has no rules. It is, even if it has rules, those rules can be bent, broken, changed, reshaped, ignored, followed to the letter, or whatever. And often, or whatever is the answer. So there are no prescribed ways of doing things. It's just that certain, you know, like I said, I mentioned sigils on something and immediately somebody said, oh, are you using the witch's wheel? And I'm like, the hell is a witch's wheel? And like, oh, you know, you use this and you use that. And it's basically just something that somebody came up with in the 1970s. When you were at school, do you remember doing the numerology thing where you put the numbers 1 to 9 and 0, and then you put the alphabet underneath, and then you took the numbers from your name and you added up all the numbers and you got your magical number? Pretty much the same thing, but for sigils, and it's in a wheel, so it looks pretty. And somebody just came up with this way of doing it, and everybody's like, oh yes, it's a witch's wheel. And it's like, not really, but you know, if it works for you, do use it. You know, doesn't mean everybody has to do it that way. There's also a school of thought that says you have to create your own sigils. You'll find that a lot. You must create your own sigils, because their logic is that the creation of the sigil itself is how you charge the sigil. Well, that's true. However, you can create a sigil, a physical sigil, by copying someone else's. There's a thing that some people think that if you just use somebody else's sigil, it's basically just an intention with a pretty picture. And it's not really invoking anything. But again, it depends what you want and what you're trying to do. Are you trying to actually invoke something, or are you using it as a reminder to do something, or to make sure that you do something, or are you using it for intention setting? Because if you're using it for intention setting, there is absolutely nothing wrong with printing off a pretty picture off the internet and using that as your symbol, as your sigil. But a true sigil is something that is personal to you. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that you created it. Other people might have come up with the design and the intention, but if that's what you want to use, as long as you recreate that sigil, you have created the sigil. If you, how can I explain it? If you print one of my colouring pages, all you've done is printed one of my colouring pages. If you copy one of my colouring pages yourself into your journal with your own hand and pencil, then you have created that picture. Okay, you may not be the originator, but you've recreated that picture in your book. So your energy and intention has gone into making it. I suppose it comes along with the whole, should you create your own spells or should you use other people's? You know, that's like saying, well, you're not a real chef unless you're making up your own recipes. There's plenty of chefs would disagree with you there and say, actually, there's some really good recipes in books that I use all the time. And that doesn't make me any less of a chef. I don't think it makes you any less of a witch if you use somebody else's spells versus making up your own. In the same way, I don't think it makes you any less of a witch or your sigil any less powerful if you use somebody else's instead of creating your own from scratch. For me, and again, this is where the chaos magic comes in. Magic is about intention. And as long as you fully intend, you know, I actually put in the PDF, which you haven't had yet, just in case you're confused. Say what you mean and mean what you say. That is the most important thing with sigils, is that you say what you mean what you say, and that you are very, very specific. Sigils are invocations. They're not wishes. They're not mantras. They're meant to invoke certain powers and feelings and channel certain energies. And, you know, there's another school of thought where if you want to invoke a protection sigil, then you should do it when you're feeling strong and powerful. Because, you know, you put that emotion and energy into it. But in the world of the universe, any emotion is strong and powerful if it's strong and powerful. You know, I've got very high levels of anxiety at the moment. I could create a very powerful sigil for just about anything using that anxiety, because that is very strong. That doesn't mean that I can only create a sigil that's about anxiety. If that held true, then the only sigil you could create in an anxious state would be one that created anxiety, which would be a hex, which you'd use for somebody else, which is not what sigils are for. Not that you can't use them like that, but you would have to be very calm in order to create a calming sigil. You would have to feel very safe in order to create a protection sigil, and so on. That's not how magic works. Magic takes power, and somebody's mic's on. Magic takes power and channels it into. That's the thing. You have to channel it into. You hear it talked about a lot in sports. You know, you take your rage and you channel it into your running or your boxing or whatever. You know, you take your pain and you channel it into. It's a conversion process. And part of the healing comes from the conversion process. It's all to do with taking all these very strong emotions that you have and converting them into something useful. So again, that's just the way I do it. If that doesn't sit well with you, or you don't quite follow it, or it doesn't quite make sense, or you prefer another way of looking at it, then use that. I don't care what you do. If it works for you, it works for you. It's no different to, you know, whether you take your meds or not. I med because I need it and I feel better when I do it. But if you feel better when you don't medicate, then fair enough. That's up to you. That's not me. So one of the things you need to research is various different ways of creating sigils. Personally, I like the doodle method, where you just visualize what it is you want. Now, for me, visualization is very easy. Other people will find it not so easy. The basic meditation for visualization is to is the one that we did for spirit animals way back in the depths of whenever it was, 2016, I think, was the, well, it might even have been earlier than that, where you meditate into a state of calm, and then you visualize yourself, you know, you walking somewhere that you might meet an animal. You know, you might visualize yourself walking along the beach or walking in a forest, or somebody's mic's on. Sorry, it's distracting having going on in the background. Yeah, you visualize yourself walking in a, oh, of course it's Rachel. You visualize yourself in a jungle or a forest or a landscape or an astral plane or whatever it is, and you meet your spirit guide or spirit animal or whatever, your messenger, and so on. The visualization exercise, the basic visualization exercise is the same, but normally you'll find it in some kind of a, either you place yourself somewhere that you feel content. That's usually the word that they use, content. Like a garden or whatever. Or you visualize it as walking up a set of steps, and then when you get to the top of the steps, whatever you see is, that's it. That's what your sigil is. It can be very difficult to do, so don't worry if you get to the top of the steps, or you can't visualize the steps, or you don't understand how to meditate in the first place. Some people just don't get it and can't do it, or need to practice it a lot. I never used to get it, because there's this thing that everybody tells you that meditation is about quietening your mind. Anytime you hear meditation mentioned, it's about quieten your mind, quieten your mind. And I'm like, you try quietening 2,000 monkeys that just want to chitter chatter at you. Because, you know, even if you get 1,999 of them to shut up, there's always going to be one at the back that's going, what's she doing? What's she doing? I can't see. Get out of the way. I can't see. What are we doing? Why are we doing this? Are we going to be here for a while? Shall I go and get a book? You know, there's always going to be that one that interrupts. So if you can't meditate, or you can't do that kind of stuff, don't feel that you're alone, because actually it's not about that. It's about acknowledging that. It's about knowing that there are 2,000 chattering monkeys going on, and still being able to just relax and go, yep, there are 2,000 chattering monkeys. Oh, now there's 1,999 quiet monkeys, and one that's jumping up and down at the bank, wondering what we're doing and when it's going to be time for breakfast. It's not about turning those voices off. It's about being able to acknowledge those voices and then move past them, instead of being, how can I put it? Instead of being squirrel, you know, squirrel, 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 squirrel. Instead of being like that, it's more like being in a car, especially if you're driving. If you're driving, you notice things around you, but you don't really see them because you're not looking at them. You will notice that the car behind you is a big white thing. You will notice that there was a woman in a red coat pushing a pram on the other side of the road. You will notice that shop with the really cute little blue lamp outside, but you won't necessarily take, it doesn't distract you. It's just there, and you acknowledge it and you drive past. It's just something that you notice. And that is the key to successful meditation. It's not turning off those voices. It's just allowing them to be there without them distracting you and without you responding to them, if you like. Just being able to not ignore them, because ignoring them makes it sound like you're trying to turn them off. You're not trying to turn them off. You're just trying to let them be and not have them interact with you in any way, and not be like background noise in a coffee shop. You know, unless somebody's being particularly loud or has a particularly annoying laugh that pulls your attention, or it has a particularly, you know, a screaming child or something that will grab your full attention and go, oh my God, make it stop. Mostly the noise of other people in a coffee shop is not going to, it's just there. It's not affecting you in any way. Unless you've got a headache or that particular noise is annoying to you or irritating to you in some way. That natural state of being able to tune out that noise in order to have a conversation with the person who's with you without getting distracted, that is meditating. And contrary to popular belief, you don't have to meditate for long periods of time. You can meditate for a few minutes. Even something as simple as just colouring in for 10 minutes. If that's all you're doing, and you know, you're not dealing with whatever's going on in the background, you're not being distracted, you're not listening to podcasts at the same time and all that, you're just sitting colouring for 10 minutes, and that's all you do, then that's meditating. Congratulations, you've just meditated for 10 minutes. You've done something with the sole purpose of just doing that for no particular reason other than to just do it. You are doing it for the sake of doing it. A lot of us meditate when we do art or we write or whatever. For me, art is meditation, especially when I get to that point where I just drift off. You've seen me do it many times where I literally am just like, and yeah, I've gone. Bye, I forgot I was recording. Yeah. You know, that happens to me a lot because I get in the zone, as I call it. And for me, that's meditation. Nothing else matters. It's just me and that pencil and the feeling of the pen on the page and the projection, watching the line become as I'm drawing. That's what meditation is for me. Other people, you know, find it when they're doing yoga. Other people find it when they're out walking the dog. Some people find it when they're sunbathing, whatever. You have to find what works for you. And it could be something as simple as putting on some headphones and listening to a quiet piece of music for a few minutes. If that is what you are fully concentrated on for that time, and yeah, those voices pop up and go, cool, I'm a bit hungry, what time's lunch, you know, and you don't engage with them. You don't go, oh, will you shut up, I'm trying to meditate, you know. You just, they spoke and you continue listening to your music. You don't react to them. Then you are successfully meditating. So you don't need to be proficient in meditating to visualize a sigil. However, visualization is not something that works for everybody, especially quite literally conjuring things out of thin air. I can imagine Risha, for instance, will struggle with visualizing a symbol because she's already said she struggles with visualizing air because it's not really there. So conjuring things out of nothing is already something that she finds difficult. That doesn't mean she won't be able to do it. It just means that she needs to find a way around working with it. And I think possibly that people who can't visualize a symbol or literally pluck a symbol out of thin air or meditate one out, sometimes you're not in the zone where you can meditate. You know, I've been too anxious over the last few days to do any meditation. I couldn't settle long enough to meditate. To the point where I downloaded one of those meditation apps just to see what it was like. And it was one where you had to follow a little red dot on the screen. And it was like, oh, it was kind of psyching you, you know, I bet you can't follow this red dot for like 15 seconds. And I'm like, you're damn right I can. I'm like 4 seconds in and I'm already wandering off. My head's gone, you know, and that was the point. I couldn't meditate on it. I couldn't do it because I was too anxious. So there are times where it won't work for you anyway. So that might be a case of using a different system. So let's talk about systems. There are various different systems. Oh, no. That one. There we go. There are various different ways of creating a symbol if you can't do it through meditation. The easiest one, or the one that a lot of people use, is the numerology one that I mentioned earlier, which is basically 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0. You used to do this at school, I'm sure. And then you write the alphabet underneath: D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, N, O, P, N, M, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. And you can do various different things with this. So you could use let's do an easy one. Protect. Okay. Yeah, she does that. She puts her overhead camera on and then she puts her other one on so she can talk to us if she wants to. So if your word is protect, there's lots of ways you can do it. You can use this to find the numbers. So P is 6 and R is 8 and O is 5 and T is 0 and E is 5 and C is 3 and P-R-O-T-E-C-T. So T is 0. So you could take 68553 and turn that into a sigil. I'll show you in a minute what I mean by turn that into a sigil. It's an easy thing to do, I promise. There's a couple of different ways to do it, which is why I want to do different things separately. You could also add them up. So you could use this as a symbol, like a passcode. You could add it up, which would be 1427, which would be 9. So a number 9 could be your symbol. Alternatively, another method of doing it is to take the word itself or the phrase. You can use a phrase if you want to. And you take out all the double letters and vowels. So you're left with PRTC. Again, this is all based on, do you remember the old ways of, you know, you used to, all these different things that you used to do to find out if you and Joe Simpkins from class 5 were going to be married and live happily ever after or whatever. Do you remember all that when you used to do stupid games like this in school? Mara's like, no, we never did that. What are you talking about? It was a big thing in the 80s. 80s kids, 80s and 90s kids will know what I mean. Mara's bunch was still on the little finger folding things. It dip, I'm it. But then you can take these letters and you can turn them into a sigil. So you could have like a monogram. So you could have maybe your P and then your R, and then you could have the C could be there maybe, and you could put the T there. So that could be your sigil. So you make it like a monogram. Do you not remember doing the whole writing their name out and writing your own name out, and then you take out all the vowels and take out all the double letters and add all the letters up, and oh my God, it was a big thing over here. There was about 4 billion ways of doing it. And if you didn't like the answer you got the first time, you just used all the others because they all gave you different answers. Yeah, Rose here knows what I'm talking about. See, I'm not making it up. Another way of doing it is to use the symbols, but instead of using them as letters like that, you break them up into components. So you've got P, R, T, and C. So from that, you could have, well, what am I seeing? I'm seeing 3 verticals, and then I see a crossbar. And I see 2 of these. And then perhaps you could have the diagonal there and the other curve there. See, that's a sigil. And when you get into things like this, you're starting to get into the veves, the vevers, and the staves. Let me show you what I mean. I've got a book on Icelandic staves that Lali gave me when she came, and I couldn't find it. Icelandic staves. See? Similar things. Theirs means specific things. This one especially, the Vagvazar, is it's a runic compass. So it's to prevent you getting lost. A lot of people will tattoo that on the back of their neck if they're going on a quest or something. That's protection and irresistibility in battle. That one. Again, it's a typical warrior brand that they would have on their chest or their sword. Look at this one. This looks like a sigil. Odin's illusionary rune of camouflage and deception. Does that not look like a runic symbol? Does to me. This is the preferred method for me. If I can't visualize it, then this is what I do, because I think this looks like a 5-year-old did it in primary school, and this looks more like some kind of a magical intention that you understand what it means, but nobody else does. And really, the only difference is in how you get from your intention to how you get to there. The most common method, like I say, is to take out the vowels and the repetitive letters, but you don't have to do that. You can do it in any way you want. You could even meditate to decide, what symbols for me mean protection. Maybe the 3 of Wands is one of your protection symbols. So you would actually end up with 3 vertical staves. So, 3 of Cups. Okay, maybe you would end up with 3 cups, but you'll put them like that. There's lots of different ways you can reconfigure this. So the chances of your protection symbol being the same as anybody else's is minimal, because there's so many different connotations. What is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 to the power of 8. What's that? I can only do 8 times 8, which is 64. So 8 to the power of 8 is 64 times 8, and then times 8 again, 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 and then that's a lot. It's a big number, that one. I can't do that. I can only do the 8 by 8. But 8 to the power of 8 is a huge number, and that's how many connotations you can have of it. The Vevers, these are the, like I say, the ritual symbols of the lower. Again, look, these are beautiful. Some of these are absolutely gorgeous. But again, they're used often as engravings or runes or tattoos or whatever, in order to invoke the properties of that particular lower, or the protection or whatever it is benefit that that lower gives you. So it's not, sigils are not a new thing. Don't let the Wiccans tell you that sigils are new. They didn't invent them, okay? The most difficult part of creating a sigil is your intention. For instance, it might be easier if somebody else does this. Somebody give me an example of what they think an intention would be. They're similar to mantras. So, you know, what? Am I skipping ahead? Have we not really understood why symbols are intentions? I am safe wherever I go. Thank you, Mika. That will do. So I am safe wherever I go. Okay. Is that a fully formed intention? No. In and of itself, it's not. First off, this is where it gets tricky. This is semantics. In essence, yes, it's fine. But in order to understand fully what I mean, I'm going to pick it apart. Semantically, wherever I go. Okay, but what about if you're not going anywhere? So you're safe wherever you go, but go implies movement, it implies travel. So what about where you are right now? What about where you are on the way to where you're going? Go is future. I go is a future thing because you go to something. If you're going to something, you're not there yet. So in essence, you're never going to get to the point where you're safe because you're never going to reach that point. Wherever you go, there you are. So once you have gone somewhere and you arrive, you are no longer going there, you are there. Do you see what I mean? So this doesn't really specify enough. It's a mantra. I am safe wherever I go. Yes, that's empowering, but sigils aren't empowering. They're invocations. You are invoking safety. So yes, I am safe. That is a sigil. Now, context. What do you mean by safe? Because that's part of your intention. If you are not fully aware of what you mean by safe, do you mean, well, there you go. Do you mean physically safe from harm from other people? Do you mean safe from harm from yourself, free of anxiety, depression, etc., etc.? Safe from something, safe within something. What do you mean by safe? So you have to be aware of what you mean. You can't just say safe and assume that the universe has got the same definition of safe as you have. Here's an example. If everybody in this group wrote down what does safe mean to you in one sentence, there would be 15 different answers. You know, it's that classic thing. I can't remember who said it. I think it might have been Scott Cunningham, actually, in one of his books. He says if you ask 14 different witches what the answer is, you'll get 15 different answers. I think because there's always one wise crack like me who'll say, well, it could mean this or it could mean that. So your intention has to be fully aware of what you really mean. Now that is where the creation of the symbol comes in, because you've made your symbol, you've decided what your symbol is going to look like. This is not making your symbol. This is not creating your symbol. This is designing your symbol. Big difference. This took a few minutes and a little bit of faffing about to do. That is not creating your symbol. Creating your symbol would be turning this into a small art card, redrawing this geometrically correctly with a ruler in the back of your book, doing it with a brush pen, redrawing it with a brush pen so that it looks beautifully calligraphied. Yeah, that is creating your sigil. This is just designing it. And I think that's where some people get confused with the whole, well, how do I charge my sigil? Well, you haven't actually made your sigil yet. All you've done is come up with a design for it. Once you make your sigil, and how you make your sigil is entirely up to you. It could be something that you draw regularly. You know, whenever you want to invoke it, you actually draw it. It could be something that you always draw it on the back of every piece of paper you collage into your book of shadows. That's a common one for protection. It could be on the back of a necklace that you wear. A common way to do it is to put it onto inscribe it onto a small piece of paper and fold it up and put it inside a locket or something that you can wear. There's lots of different ways of doing it. It doesn't have to be fancy and it doesn't have to be pretty, but it does have to be done with intention. So when you're creating your sigil, you are doing it with intention. You are fully focused on it, and any and all emotions that you have that you can muster, you throw into that sigil. So, you know, anything that's bothering you, you could be, you know, what triggered that panic attack? You could be rethinking about that panic attack. That will reconjure those emotions. Somebody said something that really annoyed you the other day. That could be triggering those emotions. You know, you saw a post on Facebook that really upset you, and that could be triggering strong emotions. It doesn't matter what it is. It's very cathartic, actually, because you can take all the things that really peed you off over the last week and put all the energy into this sigil, and it's like a little power charger. That's how I think of sigils. Now, some people don't think of sigils that way. Some people use them and create them and charge them, and then they burn them to release the energy all in one go, like a spell. I prefer to think of mine as a top-up battery. So you have, you know, you put all your money on your card, and you top up when you need it from your card. You know, you put money on your Starbucks card and you get a coffee when you need a recharge. That's how I think of it. Other people actually use them. Like I've known people who have had their car detailed. I don't know what you call it where you are, valeted maybe, something like that. And in the wax, when they get it back, they will inscribe the sigil that they use for, you know, when they're traveling. Or again, protection is the most common thing. So there's lots of different ways of using it. You could use it in any way you want to. And The fun thing about it is that you're the only person who knows what this symbol means. Cody's drawing stuff, but I can't see what you're drawing, Cody. You're in pencil. I can't see what you're drawing. You've got Hobonichi there. Have you swapped to a Hobonichi? She has, look, she's got little techo.
Yeah, I switched.
So, once you discover what your intention is and what you really mean by your sigil, then you can concentrate on that and charge it with those emotions when you are creating it. Another way of doing it is to decide exactly what you mean and concentrate on feeling like that. So Mika said things like feeling free from anxiety. Okay, so you know what it feels like, hopefully, to feel free of anxiety. So recall what that feels like while you're creating your sigil. Because there's other ways of charging a sigil. Name a way of charging a sigil. Don't think about the practicality of the sigil itself, you know, what it's written on or how it's written or whatever. Just, you know, how do we charge stuff? How can you charge things? Hold it in your hands. Yes. You could hold it in your hands, yeah, and channel your energy into it, channel your emotions into it. Another? Do some kind of ritual, yeah. Well, creating your sigil is a ritual in and of itself. So, you know, that, yes, that is yeah, you could call it doing a ritual, but creating your sigil is the ritual. That's the whole point. What you're creating is a shortcut. So instead of having to do that ritual each and every time, you want to regenerate that protection or that feeling of safety or that feeling of calm or whatever, you just kind of type in the passcode and boom, you get a hit. That's what it's for. An example, like a lucky penny. You know, some people have a lucky penny and they keep it in the pocket and they rub it when they want a recharge. Some people carry crystals and they'll pull out their crystals or they'll hold their crystals. What other ways are there of charging things? Moonlight, yeah, that's a very common one. Incidentally, big powerful full moon tomorrow in Libra, second one in Libra. Libra is all about balance and creative energy and finances and stuff like that, so I will be making most of it. In fact, I may be doing a sigil of some sort I kind of want to do a sigil that will help with financial stability, actually, because that's the big thing for me at the moment, is the financial stability. 1 minute I'm making more than enough money to pay the bills and do everything else I need, and the next minute I'm making enough money, but somehow I still can't pay the bills. And other times I'm not making any money and I can't pay the bills. And other times, you know, I'm making money, but then I've sold something and I need to put it in the post and I haven't got the post money for it or something like that. You know, I mean, I had all that stuff to give for Christmas, all that Christmas stuff. I still haven't sent it out because I haven't had the money to put it in the post yet. And when I did have the money to put it in the post, I couldn't get to the post office. It's all very, so that I could do with some stability there. But I need to think about, you know, what kind of stability is it I need? Because you could look at it and go in so many ways. You could say, well, I could create a sigil to increase my wealth and prosperity. Well, yes, you can absolutely make a sigil to create wealth and prosperity. However, wealth and prosperity doesn't necessarily equal money. So that's still not going to pay the bills, or not necessarily going to pay the bills. You could say that you want to be financially stable. Okay, well, you can be financially stable because you have no money. That is financially stable. No money coming in, lots of money going out. That is stable. The balance is tipped the wrong way, but it's stable, tipped the wrong way. Yeah, you've got to be very careful about what you want. Say what you mean what you say. For me, I think what I need to do is ask to be financially viable. I need to be able to continue what I'm doing without constantly having to worry about how am I going to pay the bills in 2 weeks' time. How many things do I have to sell to do this? If I sell this, how am I going to post it, and so forth. It's distracting because my business is primarily creative. And when you're worrying about that kind of stuff, you can't sit down and be creative. You just can't. I haven't used my journal all week until last night because I couldn't be creative because I was so fight or flight mode. You know yourselves, if you've got an itch, you can't just sit. You can't just sit and be calm if you've got an irritating cough. You can't just chill if you're constantly worrying about whether the cat came in or not. You know, if you've got something going on, you cannot just be in that zone where you need to be. And for me, that zone is where I need to be for creativity. And most of the time, that's where I am, because that's where my meds happily keep me. But if you're not in that zone, you can't make stuff. You can't. And it didn't matter that I wanted to do art or I needed to do art, or I felt like, well, I felt like I'm going crazy because I'm not doing art, and I usually do. I wasn't in that headspace, hence the ripping apart of my studio, because I thought, well, if I can't use it, I might as well destroy it and rebuild it, you know. Anyway, eventually I did make something. But you have to know what that balance is and how to get it. And once you get it, how do you keep it? We kind of got sidetracked with the whole charging thing there. I'm not quite sure how, but anyway, charging by moonlight. Oh yeah, because tomorrow's Libra full moon. Yeah, very powerful. Second chance Libra full moon. So if you didn't quite hit it the first time, you've got a second chance at it at the pink moon this time. The pink moon being, you know, follow your passions, creativity, financial stability, all that kind of fun stuff. So I will be using it. I'm not quite sure what for yet, but I suspect I will do some kind of a sigil and then charge it under the moon, which is basically you put it in the moonlight. It's not hard to charge things under the moon, you know. You just put it somewhere that it's going to catch the full moon. Simple as that. No, it doesn't matter if it's cloudy because the full moon is still there. What's another way of charging stuff? Feed my kitty. Yes, you could feed it. Feeding is also charging. If you've got some kind of sigil that will wear off over time, maybe you've painted it onto a stone or something, you could recharge it by repainting it. Feed it. If your sigil is somehow, I don't know, maybe you plant seeds in a particular pattern for your sigil, look after that plant. You know, maybe you plant plants in a particular way, way to create a symbol. Look after them. Don't let them die. Feed them regularly. Water them sometimes. Put them in the sunlight occasionally. I mean, I'm not a plant expert. My basil plant is dying, and basil is easy to look after. But yeah, feed it, repaint it, redo it in some way, recharge it. What else can you, how else could you recharge something? Cool, I'm making you think today, aren't I? But you know the answers to these things. That's the thing. I'm trying to make you think because you already know the answers to a lot of this stuff. Surprisingly, most of you are now at that point where you actually don't need me to tell you. Okay, how about this? What if I hang on a minute, what's, huh, strange. Oh, water, yes, Cody, water. So for instance, if you have, I don't know, carved your talisman, whatever. It's a talisman is just an object with a symbol on it. So if you took, say, a disc of some sort, a jewellery disc of some sort, and you engraved your symbol onto it, you could recharge and or cleanse that symbol or talisman, and hence the sigil that is on it, by running underwater. Or by putting water out under the moon to create moon water and then dipping your symbol into moon water. Incense, yes, incense is the same. You pass it through the smoke of the incense. You use the elements, yes, you bury it in the earth. You could create your symbol on paper and bury it in the earth to charge it and have it always there, and then you redraw it when you want to. So we've got water, we've got spirit, which is the moonlight thing. We've got incense, air. We've got fire, which is the holding it in your hand, using your own energy to charge it. What are we missing? Earth, yeah. So yeah, you could bury it in the earth, like I said, that you could plant it. There's an even easier way. A way that you can all do very simply to charge anything that is earth-based. Anyone? Salt is for cleansing, not charging. Water can be done for charging because it's running water, but it can also be cleansing. But salt specifically is always cleansing. Sun would be fire, that would be heat. So yes, you could put it in the sun, especially if you were doing a defensive symbol, like maybe somebody's bullying you, or you're receiving a lot of hate or something, and you want to warn that person off. You don't just want to protect yourself. You want to go, oi, step back, you know. That would be fire energy. That kind of touch me and you'll get burnt kind of protection. Bury it. Yeah, we've said bury it. I gave you that one. Come on, there's an even easier earth element. Put it under your pillow while you're sleeping. That would be a spiritual. That would be spirit. That would be your fifth element, because that would be taking it into the astral plane and dream stuff and all that thing, which is not really my forte. I don't really do an awful lot of that kind of stuff. I don't put things under my pillow because my pillow usually ends up on the floor. And half the time my pillow is my dog anyway. Scooby likes to be my pillow, which is why my pillow ends up on the floor, because he pushes it out and he gets in under there. Oh, am I going to have to tell you? I can't believe I have to tell you. Cody at least should know this one. You live in the city. Okay. Oh, so you don't have a garden, right? So you put a lot of stuff under your pillow. Well, I don't have a garden. I have a yard. I'm not pulling up any of those paving slabs to pull stuff up. Although I do have a nice park across the road. I can go and bury stuff over there. Boys and girls, for heaven's sake. Fire. Yeah, fire was the sun. And holding it in your hand, which is physical charging, physical energy. Usually when you hold something in your hand to charge it, you imagine like, you know, like in cartoons and stuff, you get the crackling fire around your hand, and or you have the gold things coming around your hand, that kind of thing. Yeah, crystals are earth. Crystals are the most basic earth symbol. So you pick your crystal that, you know, if all else fails, a clear quartz will do just fine. But, you know, if you're doing a peace of mind kind of sigil, what is peace of mind? It's calm, it's self-love, it's rose quartz. A sigil for a decent night's sleep, a good, you know, making the most of rest and allowing yourself to rest. Aha, amethyst, right? Yeah, it's always something simple. It's always something simple. And again, there's lots of things you can do. You know, you can double up on your charging by charging your crystal and charging your symbol under the moon or the sun. Don't put amethyst in the sun. Check whether you can put crystals in the sun or run them underwater before you try and do it, because some of them dissolve. Charge them both. Now, doesn't that sound like, which sounds more powerful? Let's do it this way. Which do you feel would be more powerful? Oh, look at this lovely spell this lovely sigil that I have drawn, which looks beautiful because I put all my energy into drawing it. Or, oh, look at this beautiful sigil that I've drawn because I put all my energy into drawing it, and then I put it under the full moon to charge. Or, look at this beautiful sigil that I put under the full moon to charge after I put all my energy into drawing it, and which I have wrapped around this blooming great crystal. Does that pack a punch or what? And it doesn't have to be fancy. In your head, you're telling yourself that you are binding all this energy into this so that you can tap into it whenever you want to. There you go. Pop it in your handbag or in your pocket or whatever. And then when you need that reassurance of, I'm safe, everything's fine, I'm calm, I'm protected, this bully is not going to bother me, you reach into your pocket, you grab it. You see that symbol. You draw from. You draw that energy. Could you draw it on paper and throw it into the sea, or draw it on sand and let it wash over? You could. What you're doing there is creating a spell rather than an invocation. If it's a one-time thing that, oh, this doesn't want to come off now. Maybe I need that. I don't know, it won't come off, so I'm just going to leave it. The whole point of a sigil is that you can re-tap into it. If you are making it once and then releasing it in some way, so putting it in the sea, burying it, burning it, whatever, then you're really only doing a once thing. So something like that, it would not be an ongoing thing. It would be something that you only need to do once. Like, I need this person to not be bothering me anymore. There's lots of ways of doing that. You can do not magic. Yeah, a release. Well, where you put all your energy into it and then you release it all in one go. So you've drawn this, you've put all your energy into it, and then you throw it in the sea, which cleanses it and releases the energy. Or you bury it and that releases the energy slowly. Or you burn it, which releases the energy instantly. There's lots of different ways of doing things, like making a particular person just leave you alone. You know, you don't want any harm to come to them. You don't want any problems. You just wish this person would not be near you. Please just go away. Which you would normally not do with somebody that is in your family or a friend or something like that. You know, just somebody who is bothering you in some way, like a bully, or somebody who you just do not get on, but they always seem to be in your bit of the circle that's making you feel out of sorts. They're just always around and you would rather them not be around you. There's lots of ways of doing that. You could do a sigil and quick release the energy. So you put all your energy into, please take this person out of my immediate vicinity so that I don't have to deal with them all the time. That could be a very quick release, so you could set fire to that. It's not something that you need to keep drawing the energy on, because they will just go away. They either go away or they don't. They don't go a little bit away, if that makes sense. You could also use knot magic. So you could tie two knots. One of them is you, one of them is them. Not representing you, okay? The knot doesn't represent you. The knot is you. That's the difference. It's energy. So the knots are you and them, and you start with them close together, and over a period of time, you put them more and more distant. You keep moving this one away until you run out of string, and then you only have one knot left, and that's you. So there's lots of different ways of doing different things, or doing the same thing. A simple way of doing sigil magic with that would be, this is me, and this is person that I need to go away. And over a period of time, perhaps over a, usually over a full moon or something like that, a waxing moon, a moon that is bringing things down to closure. So from the third quarter, we've talked about this before, from the third to the dark moon, waxing, waning moon, down, fulfilling, completion. So over the third to the dark moon, you could be doing this where you're, every day, this is me and this is them. And now this is me and this is them. And the next day, this is me and this is them. And then when you eventually get to the dark moon, you just have, and this is me. So you're starting the new cycle of the new moon without that person in your vicinity. Doesn't mean that person's gone. It could just mean that that person is not interacting with you anymore, not bothering you anymore. It might even be not particularly that the person to do with the person. It might be to do with not allowing yourself to be bothered by that person. Again, in chaos magic, it's all about how you react to things. It's not about controlling other things. You can't control what another person does. You can control how you react to what another person does. So you can choose to be distanced from this person's behavior. So by extracting yourself from that person's behavior, it leaves you here and they're over there being somebody else's problem. This is sigil magic. It's just done in a slightly different way. You're charging it. We always think of charging as being an increase of power. Well, sometimes what you want to increase is the decrease of power. Think about it. If you want to wrap something up, you're doing it at the waning moon. That's dropping down energy. So by increasing the dropping down energy, you are still charging something. You are still creating a spell. You are still creating a sigil. So essentially, it's just a case of finding the best way to use a sigil, the best way to create a sigil that you enjoy. For me, it is this method. I like this method when I can't visualize it. Sometimes I'm too stressed out to visualize it. At the moment, I'm too stressed out to do a meditation, so I couldn't visualize. But this would work for me. So I need to set my intention and be absolutely concrete in what my intention is. Find the corresponding shapes and turn those into a design. So let's take Mika's, I am safe. Well, you could, what is the most important thing in that sentence? Anyone? I am safe. What's the most important thing in that sentence? Safe. Safe is a variable. That makes it not important, or not the most important thing. The most important thing in that sentence is I, the subject or the object. Safe means nothing unless it's affecting something else. Ignoring the fact that there is a noun of a thing called a safe. We're not talking about a safe, we're talking about safety. The feeling of safety means nothing unless it is attached to something else. Therefore, the most important part of it is I. Rose got it. She was just a little bit, she typed it just as I said it. She was a bit slow coming forward there. So, when you think of I, this is another method of making a sigil, by the way. Mika, right off the bat, off the top of your head, when you think of yourself as a image, a picture, a symbol, what do you see? A circle, okay? So that's the I. So now all we need is the safe part. Now, there's various different ways of putting safe. My instinct, for me, and it might be different for you, think about what your instinct would be to do next, Mika. Don't type it, think it. How would you put safe into that picture? There's lots of different ways of doing it. Like I say, and I just do this because I'm curious. My instinct would be that. What was yours, Mika? What did you think? You would have gone the other way and drawn something in the center of the circle, right? So for you, safety is something that comes from within. Whereas for me, safety is something that I see as without. So if this is me, this is safety. So for me, I would have drawn, this is me, and then the more concentric circles I've got, the safer I am. So I would have just kept going with the concentric circles. For you, it's bringing it in. So you need a focus. So if that's you, you need a focus. And the easiest way to focus something is, how do you focus? How do you focus something? How do you mark something? How do you make a mark? Think like a pirate. X. Thank you, Susan. That's how you focus inwards. So for Mika, it's about pulling in a protective shell, pulling into herself so that she's protected. Her way of feeling safe is to withdraw. My way of feeling safe is to surround. But the simplest thing, if you're, I would have drawn something in the center of the circle, well, your simplest thing is to do that. And that is such a simple symbol. You could draw that. You could draw that all over the place, couldn't you? You could doodle it in the margins of your book all the time. And whenever anybody says, oh, what are you doing? Oh, I'm just doodling. No, I feel a bit anxious talking to this person on the phone. So I'm just going to doodle while I'm doing it, And there it is. You could even do it in the air. Yes. Super simple to do. In fact, that is such a simple thing, you could even visualize it. I don't think there's many people who couldn't visualize it. You just imagine it as lights in the air, like when you have a sparkler. So you just imagine the picture in the air. You could even do that CBT, they do it in, where you draw it on the palm of your hand. You could even literally draw it on the palm of your hand with a ballpoint pen if you wanted to. And then you've got it held in your hand. You can charge it that way. You could even do this in your cup of coffee in the morning or whenever. Stir in your coffee. Stir, stir, cross, cross, stir, stir, cross, cross, stir, stir, cross, cross. Because it's meditative, it's recharging it. It's reminding yourself. It's basically the equivalent of standing in front of the mirror going, I am calm, I am safe, I am goddess, or whatever it is people do when they stand in front of the mirror. I clean my teeth in front of the mirror. I don't talk to myself. Who needs a mirror to talk to themselves? So that's another way, is to just intuitively come up with something that means something to you. And the simpler it is, the better it is, because I don't know about you, but I can't remember what that sigil was that I drew earlier. But this, I'll remember it for weeks, if not months. Every time somebody says to me, what was Mika's symbol? Oh, wasn't it like a circle with a star in the middle or something? You know, because it's easy to remember. Which is why I don't think there's anything wrong with using another symbol of some sort, you know, runes, for instance. If you have an affinity with runes, then why shouldn't you use runic symbols? Surely if you're drawing or writing or inscribing the runes, you could inscribe the rune on a candle and light your candle each time you want to feel that calm before bed in order to sleep well, yeah? I see drawing on your hand a lot in Japanese programs. They draw characters on their hands and then eat them to get them charged. Yeah, that's a common thing in Japan, isn't it? It's in anime anyway. It's I don't know where it comes from, but yeah, they do that. I've seen that. Another way of doing sigils is to not actually use a sigil. Now, this is controversial, but, you know, like I said, sigils come from chaos magic, okay? So as far as I'm concerned, anything goes. And sigils are about invoking something through a visual password. So why shouldn't you channel your energy into something that means something to you visually? And that could be anything. That could be your Pegasus ring, for instance. It could be a small stone that you carry with you, a small crystal. It could be a picture in the back of your journal. That every time you look at that picture, it re-invokes that feeling of safety, protection, enlightenment, calm, financial viability, whatever it is that you're seeking. I think the main thing with sigils is that you have to believe they're going to work. There's a very common saying, magic doesn't work unless you believe it does. If you go into prayer not entirely sure that God even exists, let alone that he's going to help you, then the chances of him helping you are very minimal. And even if you did get some help, you'd probably call it luck because, you know, denial is not a river in Egypt. It's the same with magic. If you believe magic works, then it does, and it will. It's hard to explain, I guess, but either you believe in it or you don't. If you're not 100% sure that you believe in it, or that it will actually work, or that it's anything that you could make work, the chances are it won't work for you. But if you fully believe that in order to protect yourself, if you put a piece of hematite, which is a protection stone, under the full moon and charge it with the energy of the moon, and that stone then becomes powerful and you wear that stone, then you'll feel protected. The key there is that you will feel protected. It's not about whether you believe the stone has been charged. It's not about whether you believe that wearing the stone will actually do anything in terms of protecting you. It's about how you react to wearing the charged stone, which is you feel protected. Again, we're back to intention and reaction. You can't control what other people do. You can't stop somebody else from hurting you. What you can do is make yourself feel like they can't hurt you, or make yourself feel protected, or you'll make yourself feel powerful enough to stand up to them and say, oi, get out of here. Or make it so that you feel that you have the ability to make them go away and bother somebody else who can deal with them, or preferably who will smack them about a bit, you know. But if you don't believe it's going to work, it's not going to work. It's that simple, you know. The people have made millions and millions and millions of pounds off of this. Oprah Winfrey, for instance, The Secret people, you know, they have all made millions of pounds off of this simple thing that if you believe it enough, it happens. Intention setting, positivity, drawing things to you. What do they call it? The law of attraction. Somebody even made a law of attraction planner, for heaven's sake, so that every week you write in your planner what you want to attract into your life, and therefore it manifests. None of these people believe in magic or witchcraft, but somehow they think that manifesting in their little journal is the law of attraction, and therefore if they believe it, it's going to happen. But they're not doing witchcraft. That's, you know, that's a whole other soapbox, isn't it? But you know what I mean. The power of intention, yeah, the law of attraction, the secret, the whatever, what is it Oprah calls it? It's all the same stuff, peddled in a different way. Visualize what you want. Be positive. You know? Stand in the mirror and see yourself as a successful person. Tell yourself you are a successful person. Talk to yourself as if you are a successful person, and you will be a successful person. But all you're really doing, and all you're really doing with magic or any of this stuff, is constantly reminding yourself, this is how I want to be. So instead of January the 1st, oh, here's my word of the year, this is what I'm going to do, here's what I'm doing, here we go. Great. And then you get to about November and you think, what was my word of the year? Did I have one this year? You know, instead of that, you are literally every day writing on a post-it note, my word of the year is. How can you forget that that is what you're trying to do if you are reminding yourself of it every single day? I struggle inside with changing the negative talk in my head to positive. Yeah, you've got a Brenda. You have a Brenda. It depends. For me, I think you've got a Brenda. It might be a Tim. I don't know if you've seen this. It was on a thing I put up the other day. You need to think of your negative voice in one of two ways. Either think of it as a 13-year-old on Xbox that's trying to diss you. You don't have a girlfriend. Shut up, Tim. It's past your bedtime. Yeah? Or you need to think of it as that annoying voice that you don't want to listen to. That annoying person at work. Shut up, Brenda. I didn't ask for your opinion. Yeah? Either one of those two is going to work. Because it's either the young person who's trying to make you feel old and past it and incapable of change, the 13-year-old on his Xbox that needs to go to bed, or it's the nagging older person who isn't allowing you your freedom as a younger person to do what you want and what you think is okay, and to be express that creativity or whatever it is. That's why I think for you it's a Brenda. I think you have a crone. You have a crone, and she basically doesn't like anybody. She wants everybody to be quiet, and she likes to be in bed by 8 p.m. And your counterpart of that, the Mara part of that, is actually Mara would quite like to stay up with a glass of wine till about 10, actually, if you just shut up. You know, Mara would like to paint now, be quiet. So yeah, I think you have a Brenda, and you need to tell Brenda to shut up occasionally. If you literally put there's different ways of doing it. I mean, Tam Willowing used to talk about having a negative talk, the monster in your head. What's her name? Ros Stendhal. She talks about the monster in your head as well. The negative Nancy. She calls hers Steve. And Steve is an accountant. He's very uptight and he's not allowed out until it's finances time. When it's tax time, Steve can come out and take over. He can do all of it. That is his forte. That's what he's good at, and he can get on with it. When she's doing the finances, balancing the checkbook, you know, working out any of that, Steve is more than welcome to come and help and take over, because she hates doing it. But the rest of the time, Steve has to be quiet and sit in his office. And that's how people deal with their negative talk. Tam had a little monster. She turned hers into a fluffy little monster, a bit like Sully. Her monster was a lot like Sully, actually. In fact, now I remember, her monster looked exactly like Sully, except it was pink instead of blue. And it even had the little horns. And instead of being annoyed with her monster for being negative, she invited him round for tea and gave him cake, so he felt a bit better. And she drew a picture of herself having tea and cake with her monster, because he was obviously having a bad day. And once he felt better having his tea and cake, oh my God, Cody's drawn her monster. There's her negative. Oh, her monster breathes fire, look. She drew her monster. There you go. He's kind of cute.
I call it my OCD monster.
It's your OCD monster. Yeah, he just needs a hug, look. See, it's not crazy. People do it. I don't have negative voices. It's weird, but I don't. I do have. I think mine are so medicated. They're just kind of sitting in the corner, stoned, to be honest. Because I have had a lot of negative talk over the last week. Is it negative talk? Would I call it negative talk? I don't know. Just that kind of. The thing that I don't normally have, which is second guessing myself. I never second guess myself. You do or do not, there is no try. That's, you know, that's it as far as I'm concerned. You either do it or you don't do it. And if you don't do it, nothing's going to change. So you might as well do it, because even if it changes for the better or for the worse, at least something's changed. At least you're not bored, you know. In fact, if anything, that's probably my mantra. At least I'm not bored. Invite the demons over and give them homemade sandwiches. I'm wearing my lucky dragon charm on my bracelet, or wearing my rose quartz earrings to remind me of luck and self-love. Yes. As long as you don't get to the point where you forget that you're wearing them. That's because it's easy to do that. Any of you who are or have been married, you never forget, but you don't always actively remember that you're wearing a wedding ring. And yet your wedding ring is there to remind you that you're married. And as a symbol of that. So, yeah, if you never forget that they're there and you're always aware of them, then that's not a problem. That's great. That works for you. Keep doing it. For me, I find every so often I have to change things up. You'll notice I've put my wolf, I've put it on a longer chain, because I felt like I was forgetting that it was there, because I wear it all the time. I never take it off. This never, ever comes off. So I put it on a longer chain so that every time I look down, I can see it. It also means I can wear a shorter necklace. Plus it meant it wasn't itching this, but you know, there was other reasons for it as well. But now it's hanging down there. I can see it because I never forgot that I was wearing this, because every time I looked down, I saw it. Every time I looked in the mirror, I saw it. But this one used to get hidden. Now I see it. Strangely, I never used to forget that I was wearing my pentacle, which is on the same chain. But my wolf, I used to forget I was wearing him. And then I'd feel it and I was like, oh, I'd forgotten I was wearing that. It's not good. Have you seen my wolf? He's beautiful. I'll just take him off to show you. But also now, because he's on a long chain and I don't want this to get broken, I have started taking it off at night because Maddie. It's my wolf. It's not focusing. There you go. He's beautiful, isn't he? Again, he's my talisman. That's why he's bent. It's because I rub him like that. He started bending in the middle. His furs started wearing away in the middle. But I can do that better now that I remember that he's there all the time. Oh, I've put that on the wrong way around. And like I say, it now means I can wear other necklaces as well. Oh, let me show you what Ash sent me. This is so cute. She's not here today. She's at work. She must be at work. Oh, ow. Oh, my knees have gone stiff. Ow, 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 knees. Ow, 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 knees. Oh, oh, flipping heck. Ow. Okay. Let's not sit with our knees tucked up like that then. Look at this. This is the cutest thing ever. This belonged to her mum, apparently. And her mum, her mum died a few years ago. And she's had this ever since. And every time she looks at it, it reminds her of me. So she sent it to me. And it is so adorable. Let me see if I put it behind my book. It won't focus very well. So. Can you see what it is? It's hard. It's hard to see it. Maddie. It's a little frog, yeah. It's a turquoise. It's actual turquoise. You can tell by how heavy it is. It's a hand-carved turquoise frog that was given by, I think she said, it began with NEV, so it was either Nevada or Navajo. One of them, a tribeswoman. I can't remember if she said Nevada or Navajo, tribeswoman, who had made it and gave it to her. Isn't it the cutest little thing ever? So I'm gonna put that in my silver case. I've got one of those clamshell cases. It's like a heart. It doesn't look like a cage because it does look like a heart. And I think he'll fit in there. So I'm going to put him in that case and wear him for a while. Because turquoise, what's turquoise about? Anybody? Cody's here. Cody knows what turquoise is. Look, she wears turquoise all over the place. She knows what turquoise is for. Communication, balance, creativity. It is throat chakra, expression. And a frog totem. What's frog totem? Anyone? Has anybody got a frog totem? I guess actually frog is probably my totem, isn't it? Or one of them. I've never thought of it as a totem of mine, but I guess it is. I've always used frogs. In fact, when I was a kid, I don't know if anybody else used to do this, but when you wrote letters, did you have like a little sigil thing that you wrote, like a little doodle thing? I had two. I had a bear behind, which was literally the backside of a bear. and a little frog. And I used to write those on the back of envelopes. Back in the oldie days when I actually wrote letters. Here we go. When frog jumps in as your spirit animal, it's time to raise your voice and be heard. Frog as a totem animal belongs to those who hear messages from the other side. You can invoke frog as your power animal when you need to help navigating situations. So it's all about throat chakra, communication, expression. Not to be confused with toad, because like rabbit and hare, frog and toad are different. Frog meaning is closely associated with cleansing and purifying, and the appearance of the frog spirit animal symbolizes prosperity and abundance. A prosperous and abundant time for you and your loved ones. Well, that's what we need, isn't it? Bit of prosperity and abundance. Please.
I actually wear my symbol twice on each hand.
Yeah, what is that? Is it a butterfly?
Yeah, it's a butterfly.
Turquoise butterfly, symbol of change and moving forward. Oh, so we're back here again. So I could. Hi, baby. Hi. I've got several things I can do. So I could put my little turquoise creativity communication frog, abundance, under the moon to charge. The Libra full moon, creativity, abundance, transformation. Do the same with your rings, Cody. Get them under that full moon. Turquoise being one of Libra's stones, of course, a balancing stone. I could create a sigil and do the same. I could create a sigil that I somehow put on, I don't know how I would put it on something so tiny, but, you know, maybe, actually, you'd want something that wasn't permanent. So I would say, if you were going to do something like that, you could use wax and like a cocktail stick and write a small symbol in wax on your frog or whatever. I need to put that safe because I don't want to lose it. He's so tiny. He fell out of the bag and he was not in the box. I couldn't find him. He was caught under the lid of the box. I could have thrown him away if she hadn't told me he was there. Yeah, transition, abundance, prosperity, spiritual creativity and communication and all that kind of stuff. It's all the same stuff. Libra, frogs, turquoise, it's all coming together. And funnily enough, since I realised about the Jupiter Sagittarius thing, not a single hare or rabbit has been seen, except for this one, which I deliberately stuck there. I haven't had them pop up. Look, we've got frogs in here, haven't we? Frog. Do you know the story of the frogs? It's a tribal story. I can't remember which tribe it comes from. I wonder if it's the Navajo. I wonder if that's where it comes from and it's linked to that. That would be kind of full circle-ish. 202. It was where two dragons, a fae, a trow. What's a trow? And a butterfly on my bracelet. Frogs. Magical attributes. Initiation and transformation. Clearing out negatives and distractions and replacing them with positive energy. Joy in the new cycle of life. Being reborn after a period of seeming death. Undergoing an initial transformation. beginning a new life cycle by dispensing of negative thoughts and deeds. Your singing marks the season of new life and new beginning. A time singing. You're singing. There you go. Communication. Throat chakra. Your singing marks the season of new life and new beginnings. A time of wonder and joy. A time of rebirth and of light. Like the tiny frog in spring renewing, I joyfully face my new beginning. I boldly stand upon the threshold and leave confusion for the light. Interesting. Or troll. Troll. Like a little plastic troll. That kind of troll. Or are you thinking of troll in a different way? It's an interesting one. That doesn't really gel with any of the other things I've ever heard about frogs. But frogs, when frogs sing, for those of you who haven't read the story, oh, look, a little cave troll. She has a cave troll. Where's that from? I can hear Sean Bean saying it. It must be from Lord of the Rings. They have a cave troll. Yeah, it is. It's from Lord of the Rings, isn't it? Oh, cool. I like it. What was I saying? I lost my thread. The frogs. The frogs, right. For those of you who haven't read the story, the frogs were happily singing one day, and I don't know the story off by heart, but basically the short version, they were happily singing and croaking away, and I think it was a grasshopper. It's usually a grasshopper. A grasshopper came along and said, "Oh, what a noise! You shouldn't be making that noise. You should chirrup. You chirrup like me. All the intelligent animals chirrup." So the frogs started to chirrup. And no, I missed a bit. The frogs would sing in the rain. The frogs would croak and croak and croak and croak. And eventually the rains came, because frogs croak in spring, spring rains come. You know how it works. And a grasshopper came along and said, no, croaking is coarse. Only intelligent animals chirrup like me. So the frogs started to chirrup. And eventually the frogs stopped making any songs at all, because chirruping didn't quite sound right. And eventually there came a period of drought. And all the young frogs said, do you remember in the old days when all the old frogs used to sing? And they used to make these noises, and the rains would come. Why don't we try it? So all the frogs got together, all the youngsters got together, and they started croaking like they'd heard the elders do back in the day. And they croaked and they croaked and they croaked, and the rains came. And the moral of the story is, your song may not be the prettiest or the most eloquent, and others may tell you that your song is not good enough, but it's your song and it's unique to you. So you should sing the way you want to sing, and not the way other people tell you to sing. That's how it ties in with the class. That was the whole premise of this class from 2014, well, 2013 when I thought of the class, to 2014 when I actually started teaching When Frogs Sing. That's always been the thing. You do you. Don't journal like me, journal like you. My job is not to tell you how to journal. My job is not to tell you how to practice witchcraft, or whether you should practice witchcraft, or anything of the sort. My job is just to show you how you can look at things, and what you do with it from there is entirely up to you. I show you how you can draw something, and you draw it. And it's up to you if you draw it the same way, or draw it slightly differently, or draw it your own way, or turn it into a thug robin. you know, it's entirely up to you how you take it and how you deal with it and how you use it in your own life or don't use it in your own life. That's the whole point. It's about eclecticism and all being different, because I got tired basically of seeing classes where it was just monkey see, monkey do. Every single class I did was, I'm going to make this pretty picture of a pretty girl and you're going to copy me, and then you're going to have a picture like this of a pretty girl exactly like mine in your journal. And to me, there's nothing wrong with that if that's what you want to do. But to me, it wasn't creativity. It was just monkey see, monkey do. And that's not what I'm about. And that's why we don't do classes where I just draw something and you copy me. I mean, we do that sometimes, but we do it as a learning experience for a reason. We don't just go, right, today we're going to draw a pretty frog. You know, we haven't drawn sigils today and you've all copied my sigil. I've taught you how to do your own sigils, how to look at it, how to, you know, you should have a study guide, of course. Normally you would have a study guide that would allow you to go off and look at different ways of creating sigils and decide for yourself what you want to do. Or if there's a symbol that you already have that you use. I notice, it's funny, she's got her bits and pieces out there. Cody's got her bits and pieces. She uses butterflies and swirls a lot in her pictures. So butterflies and swirls must be power symbols for her, which means she can use them as sigils. Risha uses dragons and fairies and things, and trolls, apparently. I draw stars and moons. The star is my symbol. I've always drawn stars on things, but the star is my symbol because the star is my tarot card. It also happens to be the tarot card for Aquarius as well. But, you know, I draw stars all over the place. Always have, always will. Whenever I don't know what to do, I draw stars. Sometimes I paint over my stars because I think of something better to draw, but I still draw them. Because that, for me, is what reminds me of what I am and who I am and how I think of things, if that makes sense. So, what time are we on? Oh God, 6:15. It's gone already. It's gone quick already, hasn't it? Let me just show you this. So this is what I did. The only piece of artwork I've done in a week. I'm trying to find my gouache. I can't find my box of gouache. It must be around here somewhere. Well, it is around here somewhere, but I can't find it. And I really wanted to use gouache. I've got, that's what I came up with for art supply. It's not finished yet. I'm going to go in and shade this just like greys. I specifically wanted it to be like lots of input, creative output. I don't know if that makes sense, but it made sense in my head. I kind of like him. I think he's cool, except for the fact that I messed his face up because I blotted stuff on him. But when I scan him, I can take that out. I'm not convinced about this colour. I didn't think it was going to come out plaster coloured. I thought it was going to be a bit more pinky. It's neither pink nor brown. It's just kind of, yeah, it's like a plastered wall that you haven't painted yet. So I might have to put something on that. I don't know. Maybe it just needs a pattern or something on it. I like it too. I agree. Lots in, good kept. What? Are you drinking, Sue? That doesn't make any sense, honey. I also got a bargain on eBay. When I got my commission the other day, I bought my inks, and I also bought, because I couldn't resist, although I don't need the glittery ones and I don't need the pastel ones, I did need the dark mermaid markers, because look at those colours. Those are the muted acrylic colours. Exactly. Not just, well, they're kind of the same. Exactly. And this was such a bargain. Where's my thing? Look. And she's got some left as well. So I'll... $6 from Canada. $6.38. US $6.38, but it shipped from Canada. So no import fees, nothing. It worked out about £4.50. Let me see if I can get her. She's on eBay. US seller. No, Canada seller. Spot the craft with hyphens. Spot dash the dash craft. Her logo is like spots. Yeah, look. See, like that. And she's got nearly 40,000 positive feedback. So, yeah, that was a hell of a bargain, considering they're like £18 was the cheapest I could find that set here. But I thought for £4.50, I'm not passing that up, because I really wanted those dark colours, and they're beautiful. This is so that's brush, a bit of water. Oh, that's sticky. My brush is sticky. I didn't wash my brush. Muted pink. Bit too much paint there, sorry. I was trying to figure out why there was a helmet balanced on my wall. It's the guy upstairs putting his bike in the thing. What the hell is that? Muted turquoise. Lots of stuff you see, the good things are kept for art and other things in your life. Oh, I see. That was the original sentence, but somehow her keyboard apparently didn't type all of the words. Yeah. The good things are kept for art. Yeah. The green. Like the other green, that green doesn't come out quite as well. But that's the muted green. Isn't it uncanny? It's almost as if somebody took these colours and went, oh, that would make a good set of mermaid markers. I'm not saying that's what happened. I'm just saying these colours are awfully close. Muted grey. Just saying. Oh, you were writing shorthand, I see. Yeah, I can't infer. I can't infer through text. And then, of course, there's the muted violet. It's uncanny, isn't it? But yeah, Courtney showed me those colours and said, you need to get these. I looked at the price in the UK and they were like £18. I'm like, really? That's for 6 markers? I got to the point where only the dogs could hear me. And then I looked on eBay and I got lucky. So if you want to get lucky, go and check out that. Oh, that's weird. Why won't that go back in there? Oh, it will. Okay. Everything just has to be sat down properly. Yeah, it's quite strange, isn't it? How close those colours are. But I love those colours, and now I've got the mermaid markers that go with them that are awfully similar. So cheaper than the inks. But yeah, that's it. That's all I've done in a week, is that. And it's far from my best work. But I feel more creative now, and I like my space again. So I think I can get back into it now. Any questions on sigils? Sorry, we kind of got sidetracked there, didn't we? You know this happens. Have you been doing a drawing a day, Cody? It looks like you've been.
They're my memories.
Oh, right, okay.
So this is Sabrina from the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina on Netflix. And then just a poem. My days are not that adventurous.
Oh, I see. So you're just drawing one thing a day?
Yeah.
Oh, look, a cat going out so it can come back in again.
Well, we actually kept him in for a week to try it. And he drove us batty, so we decided to let him back out.
And you opened the door and all you could see was his tail running off in the distance.
I dreamt about all these weird monsters that were sculpted by a person. It's really interesting.
Okay.
Well, he was trying to claim them as authentic, and this expert came in and said no, they weren't. It was like a show I was watching, but it was all a dream.
Strange. Okay.
This is a webtoon based off of Hades and Persephone, called Lore of Olympus.
Persephone.
Persephone. So.
Lore of Olympus sounds familiar. I know that from somewhere.
You might know him as Used Band-Aid on Instagram.
Oh, right. Yes. Okay. That's why I know it. Yeah.
So, yeah, I've just been drawing my memories in here, or I'm going to, since I just got this. I'm going to try to backlog it all.
Backlogging's overrated. That way leads to scrapbookitis.
Oh, it's just this year.
Which is where you spend a lot of time doing one spread and then the other 3 hours of a crop complaining about how many other spreads you've got to do that you've not caught up on yet.
That's why I'm just doing one sketch per day. These are all my rocks I got.
I was going to say that looks like rocks. I couldn't decide if it was rocks or cheese, and eventually I went with rocks.
I got Luminar, Septarian, and then I have no idea how to say it. I can say it in my brain, can't say it with my mouth. Agate.
Yeah, I've got a few words like that.
It's a bunch of different agates stuck together.
Conglomerate agate?
Yeah.
Conglomerate. Like a conglomerate of lots of businesses.
Yeah. It's just a bunch of agate.
Just a bunch of agates stuck together. Cool.
That's all I got for now. But that's what I'm doing here is I'm just gonna journal, try to figure out something to sketch every single day in here.
Maddie, leave it. Have you noticed how Cody's gone from look at my tiny little bullet journal that I use to
I still use
my
it.
47 notebooks and my tiny little bullet journal that I'm back in?
Yeah, I switched from this guy who I was using every single day in April back to my little guy. And then I'm going to use this for my memories.
Yeah. I did think at the time it was perhaps a mistake for you to leave your little guy because you were doing so well with him. You were enjoying using him and you were really getting control of all the things that were going on in your brain because you said it was so easy to just pick it up and chuck stuff in it without worrying about how it looked or what it was like or whatever. And then you suddenly got this big book where it was all like, I'm going to be a bullet journaler. I'm going to draw pretty patterns and grids. No, I'm going to organize this, that, and the other. And it kind of lost the, I don't know, it seemed from outside like it lost the immediacy that you enjoyed about it in the first place.
Yeah, that's what I realized was while I like this and it does work for me, it doesn't work to keep me organized.
Yeah.
I needed somewhere that I could literally just write a giant list to deal with later, just getting it out of my brain.
Funnily enough, is what I've gone back to, having realised and worked with what a bullet journal actually is over the last 6 months. Following the actual bullet journaling, what I realised eventually was that actually what I like having is a journal / sketchbook / whatever that I put stuff in, and a little book that I just chuck in my bag that I literally write lists of stuff in. And that's what I've gone back to. I've gone back to my little book that I can just chuck in my pocket, and my sketchbook, which I also wrote a shopping list on. And then when I wrote my shopping list, realised that I would need it in my little book if I went to the shop because I wouldn't lug in this with me. And then I went, oh, sod it, and just took a photo of the list on my phone and then painted over this. I also did a list of all the different videos that I'd done. Again, this is
I can't see you.
Stuff. Oh, sorry. There. This page down here under these swatches. I'm doing it the wrong way around, aren't I? Hang on. Da, 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 da. That's me. There we go. And then that's that. Boom. There we go. Under here, oh, my teeth have gone on edge. My hands have gone dry. I've got, I think it's because I keep touching that. It's a bit rough. Yeah, that's better. Under here, I've got a shopping list, and then I realised that I hadn't written it in the right book because I'm so used to just writing in the book that I use everything in. So I took a photo of it and then I painted over it. And then this is a list of all the videos that I did up to this month, up to so far this month, so I could make sure that I'd downloaded it, uploaded it, and linked it, which is why they've all got 3 lines through them. Because I've realised that I just like writing lists. Sometimes all I want to do is grab a piece of paper and write a list. And I don't really care where the list is, because when I'm done with the list, I don't need to keep the list. If I need to write it down somewhere, then I will write it down somewhere that I will keep it anyway, is what I've learned. So having learned how to bullet journal properly, I've now realised that I don't actually need to. That's not what works for me. And as you can see, I've swapped to a sketchbook now because I'm sketching more than I'm writing. So, you know, come September, I'll be back in my junk journals again, I'm sure, because I really like the junk journals. I love them. And we are going to still do the putting it together, because I want to have that junk journal ready for September when I suddenly want to write again. In fact, I might use that junk journal between now and September just for, you know, odd bits of writing or photos or whatever that I want to do, rather than having it for 1 month, have it for 4 months or whatever. And in the meantime, I'm sketching every day because it's what I do in the summer. Anybody else seasonal? I go through sketching periods between April and October, and then September to March, I write. No? Yeah, it's weird, but that's how it works for me. I think it comes from the fact that during the winter, it's so bloody cold and wet here, nothing dries. So I get frustrated at painting things. Any news updates? I've got everything up there, over there, ready. It's buried by boxes at the moment. That's the thing I need to sort out, is all the boxes. The reason I've put all the boxes there is because I have to sort them out in order to get to my scanner and printer. So that will make sure that I do them. They won't just be sitting there in 6 weeks' time, because I have to do them, because I have to do some scanning so that you guys can order prints and stuff. So I don't know what the best way to do it is, because I know there's various different prints, but like if I order 2 different designs, it costs me an extra £5, but it's £5 per design. The first one is free. The second one costs £5. If you order 3, it costs £10. If you order 4, it costs £15 extra. So obviously the more prints I order in one batch, the more expensive it is. So it's better to order 2 designs maximum, so it only costs an extra £5. Otherwise, you guys are going to end up paying more than you should do, simply because I ordered 5 designs instead of 2. That makes sense. But that does mean that those of you who want specific prints can spread them out. So you can have that one that you wanted this month, and then another one that you wanted might come up in like 2 months' time. So you're not having to pay for it all in one go, which is obviously better for you guys, isn't it? But that said, if somebody wants X amount of designs all in one go, I can do that. Like Burgess wants to put in an order of about 10 different designs. Well, I can do that for her. It just means I won't make much profit on it, but that's not the key thing. The key thing is making the sale and earning some money. It's not about how much money I make, it's just making something to pay the bills, you know. But I don't want to pass those knock-on costs to you specifically, unless I absolutely have to. So I've got to figure out which pre-orders to do first. I'm thinking probably Panda is one of the most popular ones so far. And also it'd probably be either the pink one, which I know I've got 3 people want already, or Poe, which was also very popular. Might do Poe next time and just do Panda and pink this time. Yeah, I could do Star next time with Poe, you see. I'm hoping to do like 2 a month. Because I got to fund it as well, you see. And then you've got to be able to send it out and stuff like that. There's no point. See, I've got to, this is why it's so tricky to balance things, because yeah, I'll probably do that the next time, because Star was another popular one along with Poe. But I can't just make enough money that I can put back into, half back into profit and half back into paying the bills. I've also got to have enough to be able to post it out to you and all that kind of stuff. So it's tricky to balance it, but I'm not good with maths. You know, I'm not good with maths, but I am getting to the point now where I hopefully KK will be back soon. She keeps telling me I'll be back next week, I'll be back next week, I'll be back next week. So I'm hoping next week she actually will be back. I noticed she has been doing some bits and pieces on Wunderlist and going through Patreon and stuff. So and doing emails and things. So she has been doing some stuff behind the scenes. So maybe she's clearing her backlog before she tells me that she's ready for something new. You want to pay more for postage since you're in the US. Yeah, for stuff like that, I will have to charge postage at cost. So I will literally have to find out how much one print, two prints, whatever, costs to send to the US and charge you that specific amount. I don't charge for packaging because I recycle everything. Lots of things will arrive in cut up Amazon boxes because that's how I roll. All those boxes are going to be cut down so that I can sandwich prints in them and put them in waterproof packaging. The waterproof packages here are like 50p for huge ones. So that's not an issue. Packaging is not a problem, but I will have to charge postage at cost. And that may mean that sometimes your postage is more than your print, because that seems to be the way things go at the moment. I can't believe some of the things that I've seen that I thought, oh, I'll put that on the list for, you know, let's cost that up for something I might want later on in the year. You work it out and you go, oh, it's only £8. Oh, that's cool. And then you look at the postage, it's like £47. You're like, what? I couldn't believe it the other day when that parcel from Ashley, over $60 she paid in postage. I'm like, how much? It's ridiculous. Please don't spend that much on postage for me. Oh, it's crazy. But then, you know, just because $60 is £40 doesn't mean that that's equivalent. That's just because the cost of living is different, isn't it? It's what's it called? Currency conversion is not the same as the cost of living. If that makes sense. So just because $60 is £40 and it was $60 to post that parcel doesn't mean that it would cost £40 to post that parcel from here. Anyway, I just thought $60 was a ridiculous amount of postage to pay. It is ridiculous, isn't it? Fortunately, most people seem to have some kind of way of charging postage back on their taxes, which is good. Yeah, you should do that. But yeah, I put all my postage on my taxes anyway. So, but it works different. It works the opposite way around here. You have to take it, yours, you spend it and then you get it back as a rebate. Whereas ours, you spend it and then it gets taken off your tax bill. So you don't actually get any money back. Because we pay our taxes after and you pay yours in advance, I think. I think that's how it works. Anyway. Oh, maths. I hate maths. Postage is crazy, but it's different. EU countries follow different rules. Yeah. I live on the border between Belgium and the Netherlands, and I cross over to the Netherlands to get better international postage. Yeah, yeah. It's cheaper to post a parcel from here to the Netherlands than it is to post it from Scotland to the Netherlands. Because Scotland's cost of living is higher. It's crazy. But, you know, that's what I mean about having to balance things. I can't, it's all very well selling stuff. I've then got to be able to pay the postage to get it out. And if all your money goes on bills, then you have to have extra. Ugh, it's a whole thing. Anyway, I'm back on my proper meds now, so it's slightly less stressful than it was last week. I'm kind of at, it'll be fine level. Give me another week or two and I'll be like, oh, it'll be fine. It'll work itself out. It does eventually. If all else fails, I'll do a summer class. In fact, I thought about that last night, doing a a few years ago, I tried to do a class called Summer Long that was going to be getting out and about. You know, all us introverts putting on our suntan lotion and going out into the big wide world, doing things. And it was kind of going to be, well, it was going to be a bit sort of urban, sketchy, arty, kind of you get out of your comfort zone, try something new type of stuff. Because at the time, there was a whole load of people in my group who had social anxiety. Like everybody I knew had social anxiety. I don't know if it was a thing or if it was just everybody had become aware of it or it just got a name or whatever. But everybody I knew was like, oh, I couldn't possibly go and sit in a coffee shop and journal. That I would be like, you know, social anxiety through the roof. So I thought I would come up with different ways to do something like that. But now I'm thinking, well, I could do that, but we could also combine it with a bit of witchy stuff. So rather than sorry, two things. Do you have something like Flat Rate Box USPS has? They have saved me a few times for postage. No, we don't have anything like that. It's Royal Mail or bust here. And once it's out of the country, it's not even Royal Mail anymore. It's just International Post. It's fast, but it's not cheap. But if you get things the right size, like this is something I need to go to the post office and get a list. Actually, they've probably got it on the website. If I can get a list of weights, because ours is done by size and weight. If it goes through a letterbox, it classes as a small parcel, no matter how heavy it is. It's all done by size. And over a certain size, it costs more because it won't go through a letterbox. What I don't understand is that they do it on a UK letterbox size for international mail. Because you guys don't have UK letterboxes. You have mailboxes or mail slots or PO boxes, which is completely different. Most of them have to have a key with the door to open. So what does it matter whether it goes through the slot or not? You haven't got a slot. Right? Anyway, and then I get annoyed with them because they're like, and what have you got in the parcel? And they want a whole list. And I'm like, why do you need to know? I get very uptight about it. Why do you need to know? Well, we've got to make sure you're not sending anything illegal. And I'm like, if I was sending anything illegal, I'm not going to tell you, am I? Oh, you know, a couple of forged banknotes and some stolen stamps. You know. Anyway, no, reel it back in. So, yeah, kind of like a summer class, similar to like a seasonal class, like the Halloween Chronicles and the Christmas Chronicles, but something summery that we could do that's all about getting out and about, but doing witchy things out and about. But doing witchy things without anybody even knowing, you know, pressing flowers. Solstice Chronicles. How about that? Summer Chronicles would be better, but yeah, something based around that, something for June maybe. June, July. July would be better because July's better weather here. Because what happened the last time was I said, yeah, we're going to do all this stuff. It's going to be awesome. And it rained the entire summer. In fact, I can tell you what year it was. It was the same year that Rihanna brought out that bloody Umbrella song, because everybody was playing that song. And the reason it was #1 for so damn long was because it rained the entire summer. From the day I launched the class to the day we were supposed to end, it rained. And I didn't have a car at the time, so I couldn't go out and do stuff. And nor could anybody else. And a lot of them were in the UK. So we had to come up with other things to do. And it did not work. Yeah, I think it would be fun. I've got to put some ideas together for it, because I've got plenty of time to put something together. You know, I've got 6 weeks before June, 10 weeks before July. that's more than enough time to put something together, because I don't really plan in advance. I come up with ideas in advance and work out how I'm going to do stuff. But I'm not one of these people who has to do the whole class first before I actually do it. Because it would be live. It would be a proper out and about. Hopefully, I'll have to get my phone battery looked at. Hopefully, you know, going out with my phone and doing a bit of vlogging and stuff and things like that. Should be fun. But I thought it would be nice to maybe go do specific things that you might not do yourself, like going somewhere. That's it, under your umbrella, Ella. That's the one. Yep. It rained the whole summer. 13 flipping weeks she was at #1 with that damn song, and it rained the entire time. Yes. Evelyn said it was my fault for saying that I was going to be out all summer. We were going to go out and do things, and I invoked it. I got everybody all excited and put the energy out into the universe, and it rained. See, be careful what you wish for. But no, I thought we could do things like going to somewhere you can find a local hedgerow or farmer's market or something, somewhere you could collect berries or find berries or buy berries or whatever, and then bring the berries home and make ink. Wouldn't that be fun? Or, you know, press flowers, all that kind of stuff that we all like to do, but we don't really get a chance to do. And of course, going out and sketching stuff, sketching in nature or sketching, urban sketching, nature sketching, all that kind of thing. Makes sense why that song seemed to last forever. It was in the charts forever. It was in the charts for 13 weeks because it did nothing but freaking rain. I blame Rihanna. I don't think it was my fault at all. I think it was her, that bloody song. But anyway, yeah, look at those mermaid markers and how close to those colours they've gone. Isn't that strange? Although that one is more like the purple in the other set. But anyway, let's wrap up there. We go have some lunch. Yeah, if you think a summer class will be fun, I'll put something together. And I thought it would be fun to do like I like doing the stories. That's why I do the extra classes, if I'm honest. If I'm 100% honest, that's why I do the extra classes, because I like doing the stories. Stories for summer might be a bit tricky. Might be a little bit tricky, but I'm sure I'll come up with something. Anyway. I'm going to go have some tea and then get back to sorting my studio out, hopefully. Might even get another prompt done, you never know. At least I'm feeling better now than I was last week, because last week was not happening. But this week is doing a bit better. Okay, I will see you guys on Saturday. Now Tracy's coming up on Saturday. Foxy's going to be here Saturday. We have moved the class to a later time on Saturday, but I might have to move it back another hour. It kind of depends what time she gets here, what time she leaves. Foxy's a 4 o'clock kind of girl. Round about 4 o'clock, she starts thinking, I want to be in bed by 7, you know, because she's one of those up with the larks kind of people. So more than likely class will go ahead at 5. It might get pushed back till 6, but it won't be any later than that, I don't think. Okay. Right, I shall stop all the recording bits and pieces, and I will see you all on Saturday. Oh, I'm going to put the study guide together for the sigils, just to remind you of what we've been doing in class, what we've talked about in class. It's not really a study guide so much this week as more of a general thing. You really need to go off and find your own different ways, because there's so much information out there. It's basically look for different ways to create sigils and decide which one works for you the best. And then the rest of it, I've gone through with you in class. So, and as you see, not as complicated as people make it sound. It's just coming up with a pretty pattern.